Have you ever noticed that as you get older, your priorities change? Maybe the things that used to excite you don't seem as important anymore. Perhaps you find yourself enjoying the quiet more than the noise, the simplicity more than the chaos. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to cherish your alone time more than ever before. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 powerful reasons why seniors who enjoy solitude are incredibly wise. We'll explore why embracing alone time doesn't mean you're isolating yourself. It means you've learned the value of peace, personal growth, and meaningful connections. By the end, you might realize that your love for solitude is actually one of the greatest advantages of aging well. Now, before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from? Comment below and share your city. I always enjoy hearing from you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips like these. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. 1. You understand the value of peace. As you get older, you begin to realize that peace is one of the most valuable things in life. When you were younger, you might have been caught up in the hustle, work, social gatherings, responsibilities, and the endless noise of daily life. But now, you've reached a point where you don't just want peace, you need it. Think about it. After decades of handling responsibilities, dealing with conflicts, and navigating life's ups and downs, you no longer have the energy or the patience for unnecessary drama. You've seen enough to know that not every argument is worth having, not every problem is yours to fix, and not every social obligation is necessary. Instead of filling your days with people and activities that drain you, you now focus on what truly matters. Take Richard, for example. In his younger years, he was always surrounded by people, co-workers, neighbors, old friends. He felt a sense of duty to show up for every event, to always be available, even when he didn't feel like it. But after retiring, he had a realization: many of those relationships weren't built on true connection, but on habit. So, he started making different choices. He said no to gatherings that didn't interest him. He spent more time reading, going for walks, and just sitting with his thoughts. And what happened? He didn't feel lonely, he felt free. Many people fear being alone because they don't know what to do with their own thoughts. They rely on constant external stimulation to distract themselves. But when you can sit in silence and feel at ease, that's emotional strength. It means you're comfortable with yourself, and you don't need noise to feel complete. Some people might not understand this. They might mistake your preference for solitude as isolation. But there's a huge difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Loneliness is when you crave connection and don't have it. Solitude is when you choose to step away from the world for your own peace. And that's a choice that only the wise truly understand. When you protect your peace, you're doing something that many people never learn to do. You're choosing quality over quantity, stillness over chaos, and happiness on your own terms. And that, my friend, is one of the greatest gifts of aging. 2. You have a strong sense of self. One of the greatest advantages of aging is that you finally know who you are. When you were younger, you may have spent a lot of time worrying about what other people thought of you. Maybe you tried to fit in, followed certain expectations, or even held back your true thoughts just to avoid conflict. But as the years go by, something changes. You stop caring about pleasing everyone and start focusing on what truly matters to you. When you enjoy your own company, it's because you've reached a level of self-acceptance that many people never achieve. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You're not seeking approval from friends, family, or society. Instead, you've come to understand your own worth, and that's a powerful thing. Take Margaret, for example. When she was younger, she was always the one organizing family gatherings, attending every social event, and keeping up with friendships, even the ones that drained her energy. But as she got older, she started to realize that a lot of those connections weren't as meaningful as she once thought. Some people only reached out when they needed something. Others never truly understood her. So, she made a change. She started spending more time alone, doing things she loved, walking in nature, writing in her journal, and just enjoying the quiet. At first, people questioned why she wasn't as social. But she didn't feel lonely. In fact, she felt more confident and at peace than ever before. Many people struggle with being alone because they don't have a strong relationship with themselves. They rely on others to fill the silence, to give them a sense of purpose, or to keep them distracted. But when you genuinely enjoy your own company, it means you've done the inner work. You're comfortable in your own thoughts, and you don't need external validation to feel whole. This kind of self-awareness is rare. It allows you to make choices that align with your values instead of trying to meet the expectations of others. You no longer waste time on people who don't appreciate you or activities that don't bring you joy. Instead, you prioritize what makes you feel fulfilled, whether that's a quiet morning with coffee, a favorite hobby, or simply sitting and reflecting on life. Some people may wonder why you prefer solitude, but those who truly understand will see it for what it is, a sign of someone who has nothing to prove, nothing to chase, and everything to appreciate. 3. You choose quality over quantity in relationships. As you grow older, you begin to realize that not every relationship is worth keeping. In your younger years, you might have surrounded yourself with a lot of people, co-workers, casual friends, acquaintances from different stages of life. It may have felt important to stay connected, to keep in touch with everyone, and to always be available. But now, you understand something that only wisdom can teach. It's not about how many people are in your life, but about the quality of the relationships you have. Think about it. How many times have you spent time with people out of obligation rather than genuine connection? How many conversations have felt forced, where you walk away feeling more drained than fulfilled? At this stage in life, you don't have the time or energy for surface-level relationships. You're no longer interested in friendships that lack depth, conversations that feel empty, or people who don't truly value you. Take Frank, for example. In his younger years, he believed that maintaining a large circle of friends was a sign of success. He made an effort to keep up with every old friend, neighbor, and acquaintance, attending every gathering just to keep those connections alive. But as he got older, he realized that many of those friendships weren't built on anything real. Some people only reached out when they needed something. Others barely knew who he really was. So, he made a change. He focused on the relationships that actually brought him joy and support. He started spending more time with a few close friends who truly understood him, and in doing so, he felt lighter, happier, and more at peace than ever before. Many people feel pressured to maintain relationships just because of history, but longevity doesn't always mean value. If a relationship doesn't bring mutual respect, joy, or support, then holding on to it only drains you. That's why seniors who prefer solitude aren't antisocial or lonely. They've simply outgrown shallow connections and now prioritize deeper, more meaningful bonds. When you choose quality over quantity, you start valuing authenticity over appearances. You no longer feel the need to keep up with a large group just to feel important. Instead, you invest in the relationships that truly matter, whether that's a lifelong friend, a close family member, or even just the deep relationship you have with yourself. Some people might mistake your preference for solitude as distancing yourself from others, but that's not the case. The truth is, you understand the difference between being surrounded by people and being truly connected to them. You no longer need a full calendar of social events to feel validated. You've reached a stage in life where genuine connections matter more than social expectations, and that's a sign of deep wisdom. 4. You enjoy lifelong learning and personal growth. One of the biggest myths about aging is that personal growth slows down as you get older. Some people assume that once you've reached a certain age, you stop learning new things or developing new interests. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, those who embrace solitude often continue to grow, learn, and evolve, sometimes more than ever before. When you spend time alone, you give yourself the space to explore new ideas, pick up new skills, and engage in meaningful activities. While some people rely on constant social interactions to keep themselves entertained, you find fulfillment in learning, creating, and expanding your mind. This ability to enjoy lifelong learning is one of the strongest indicators of wisdom and longevity. Think about Eleanor, a 74-year-old woman who spent decades raising a family and working in a demanding career. When she retired, many people assumed she would join social clubs or fill her time with community events. But instead, she found something even more fulfilling. She discovered the joy of solitary learning. She started reading books on philosophy, took up painting, and even began writing down stories from her life. Instead of feeling bored or lonely, she found a renewed sense of excitement and purpose. Studies have shown that seniors who remain mentally active through learning and creative pursuits tend to have sharper cognitive function and a greater sense of fulfillment in life. Whether it's reading, writing, painting, playing an instrument, or even learning a new language, keeping your mind engaged helps you stay mentally sharp and emotionally enriched. The wisest people understand that learning never stops. There's always something new to discover, a fresh perspective, a skill you've never tried, or a deeper understanding of yourself. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that by a certain age, they've learned everything they need to know. But those who truly enjoy their own company recognize that there is always more to explore. People who fear solitude often seek constant distractions. They keep their schedules packed with social events, always looking for something to fill the silence. But those who embrace alone time see it as an opportunity, not a limitation. Instead of wasting time on meaningless interactions, you use your solitude to deepen your knowledge, challenge yourself, and continue growing. And that, my friend, is a sign of true wisdom. 5. You are comfortable with your own thoughts and emotions. A lot of people go through life avoiding silence. They keep themselves busy, fill their schedules with distractions, and surround themselves with noise, anything to avoid being alone with their own thoughts. But those who embrace solitude in their later years have reached a rare and powerful level of emotional maturity. They are at peace with who they are, unafraid of their own inner world, and no longer dependent on others for their happiness. When you can sit alone without feeling restless or uncomfortable, it means you've developed a deep sense of self-acceptance. You don't need external validation or constant stimulation to feel whole. Instead, you've learned to appreciate stillness, reflection, and the quiet moments that allow you to connect with yourself. Take Walter, for example. In his younger years, he was always surrounded by people. He loved social events, long conversations, and keeping himself busy. But over time, he realized that much of his socializing came from a fear of facing his own thoughts. He didn't want to sit in silence because it forced him to reflect on things he had ignored. But as he grew older, something changed. He started spending more time alone, embracing quiet moments instead of running from them. And what he discovered was incredible: he actually enjoyed his own company. He used his solitude to reflect on life, process emotions, and appreciate how far he had come. Instead of feeling lonely, he felt at peace. Being comfortable in solitude doesn't mean you don't enjoy socializing. It simply means you don't need constant interaction to feel complete. You've reached a point where you can sit in stillness without feeling empty, where you can reflect on life without feeling regret, and where you can enjoy your own presence without needing someone else to validate your worth. Many people spend their whole lives avoiding this kind of deep self-reflection. They keep themselves busy, afraid of what they might find if they slow down and listen to their own thoughts. But those who reach this level of comfort with themselves have truly mastered one of the most important lessons in life: happiness comes from within, not from outside distractions. When you can be alone and feel completely at peace, you have found something that no amount of socializing can replace: true inner contentment. Choosing to spend more time alone as you get older isn't a sign of loneliness, it's a sign of wisdom. It means you've reached a level of self-awareness, emotional strength, and peace that allows you to live life on your own terms. Some people might misunderstand your preference for solitude, but you know the truth. Your alone time isn't empty, it's filled with purpose, reflection, and personal growth. While others chase distractions, you've learned to find joy in the quiet moments of life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these insights resonated with you the most? Do you see yourself in any of these points? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.